The first GOP debate is this Thursday, so we're not there yet. We don't know for sure what the candidates are going to say, but we can speculate about some of the talking points that have been out and around during this campaign season that we're probably going to hear when the time comes. And I recently read an editorial by Kira Lerner over at thinkprogress.org where she did some preemptive myth-busting, some preemptive fact-checking on these claims, which we're going to spotlight some of her research so that you, going into the debates, are ready for the bullshit that you're going to hear. Before we get to that, though, we do know finally it has been revealed which candidates will be and which candidates will not be present at the main show, the main event, the 9 p.m. Debate. Fox News has released the list. We know that John Kasich is going to be there, but Rick Perry is not. Rick Perry out. He's going to be at the kids' table, apparently.
Oops.
Others who are going to be at the main event, the main show, Donald Trump, Jeb Bush, Scott Walker, Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, Rand Paul did make it, Ben Carson, who's been polling very well recently, Mike Huckabee, and Chris Christie did actually squeak into the top 10, so Chris Christie will be at the Big Boys debate this Thursday. But people like Bobby Jindal, Carly Fiorina, some of the others will not be at the main event. They will still be debating on Fox, but it will be in the afternoon.
They'll be at the kids, right? Yeah, the kids table. That'd be Perry, Santorum, Fiorina.
Yes, Santorum.
Santorum, who, by the way, was number 2 in the presidential
last time around. Yeah.
Right? Did he win Iowa? Or
he technically won Iowa.
Technically won, and this guy's not
even in the top 10. It's amazing what we've got this time around.
Isn't Sheldon Adelson? Isn't that his billionaire too? No. He had a different Freeze. Foster Freeze.
Foster Freeze, yes.
Where's his? Isn't he upset because if a billionaire gets upset, shit changes.
You'd think so.
Yeah. Maybe he's going for Walker.
Yeah. So those are the people that are going to be at the debates. What are they going to be saying? This is a bit of speculation, but as we said, here is the truth to some of the claims that you're probably going to hear. The first, Obamacare has failed to accomplish its prime objective, containing healthcare costs. We have done everything we can as a news agency to spotlight the facts when it comes to Obamacare, but some of the basics of the facts are the Congressional Budget Office recently found that the law will cost the federal government $1.2 trillion over the next decade, 11% less than the agency estimated earlier in the year. So significant savings over previous estimates. Most of the tax increases have affected those making more than $200,000, not affecting the middle class or the poor in America. And costs have increased modestly this year, but well below the double-digit hikes that many feared. And depending on your methods, some are saying it's the smallest increase in a one-year period than we've had in recent history, which is the entire point of the law. And so I think that he deserves credit for it. So the next one, this is a recent one, topical. Planned Parenthood is possibly selling the body parts of the babies it has aborted. They're going to be bringing this up. They're going to be bringing up the attempted defunding of Planned Parenthood. They're going to be talking about the fetal organ harvesting and research.
Now, how did they get away with doing? I heard this on NPR.
We keep doing the fact checking, but it doesn't matter. They keep
NPR, I was listening to them on the way here, so the morning edition. Anyway, they were talking about this issue and about the heated issue over Planned Parenthood. No, the way you should be framing the story, NPR, is the debunked story over Planned Parenthood.
The edited footage.
Already debunked story. The story has been debunked. There is no story there. Yet, because the national media won't call it what it is, it still has legs.
Yeah, well, and even once you get past the fetal organ harvesting, all this is anti-abortion activists once again try to kill Planned Parenthood. That's the story. That should be the headline. This is nothing new. This is nothing special. We've seen this go around before. The reality is that Planned Parenthood is open about its involvement in tissue donation, but emphasizes it is not actually selling anything or benefiting financially. It is being compensated for the cost to remove and to transport the fetal tissue. In the unedited video footage, which conservatives will not be sharing on Breitbart, the Planned Parenthood representative says directly, nobody should be selling tissue. That's just not the goal here. But for some reason, I don't hear Republican politicians talking about that part of it. The next expectation is that you're going to hear something to the effect.
You know who else you don't hear talking about that part of it? George Snuffleupagus, Lester Holt, Scott Pelley.
Yeah. You'll hear some, like Rachel Maddow. Will bring it up.
Yes, Rachel Maddow will mention it.
Yes. Okay, here's another big expectation. You're going to hear something to the effect of our biggest threat in this country is radical Islamic terrorism. I didn't even include Kira Lerner's argument for why that's obviously false, because it's so obviously false. We could go back and forth naming dozens of bigger threats to America. Now, are there Is this one of the scariest threats? Yes, possibly, because we've seen the beheading videos, the other execution videos. It is scary. It is not the biggest threat. It doesn't merit the economic and military reaction that we've already had, which is going to be ineffectual. We know that from recent history. And what they will say they're going to do to finish off ISIS is going to be bullshit from front to back, from top to bottom. Don't listen to them when they're talking about Islamic terrorism or ISIS.
Don't listen to them when they're talking about anything.
Well, anything, but especially,
this.
Yeah, when their goal is to send American servicemen back into the Middle East.
Right, but this is not germane just to Republicans, right? This is not.
That's true.
This is across the board fear mongering. Chuck Schumer's going to do his share of it. So is Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton's not going to say she's not afraid of ISIS. She's shitting her pants over ISIS. We've got to fucking beat ISIS.
Shitting her pantsuit.
Remember,
today.
If we don't beat ISIS, ISIS will continue to bomb our country.
Mm-hmm. They'll continue to attack us
wait a minute. They haven't yet ever.
Our country,
but they might.
You mean Iraq.
Yeah, our country.
Or Syria.
That's
our country,
right.
Syria. They'll continue to bomb that. Yes, and I'm very scared about that. Another expectation. They will say something to the effect of, instead of fighting over the minimum wage, why don't we focus on solutions that help every American earn his or her maximum wage?
Yeah.
You know a lot about maximum wages, don't you, on the right wing?
They sound like Vince Vaughn.
They do.
And, I'm worried about a maximum wage. I'm not talking about a minimum.
Why Vince Vaughn going under the bus there?
That's just the way he talks.
Like his character on
that's what
True
he would do.
Detective?
That's the kind of shit he would say. I'm not interested in a minimum wage, Jimmy Dore. I'm interested in a maximum wage.
He is actually right-winger.
Yes, he is. He likes Glenn Beck. They're friends.
That sucks. He's funny.
Yeah. But Mel Gibson directing his new movie, Vince Vaughn. It's like a gift.
It's not a good sign.
It's like a gift from God for the Jimmy Dore Show. Honest to God.
That's going to be awesome. You got to get them to call in.
Yes.
So the reality is that boosting wages, like the minimum wage, would also help the economy overall, because it would reduce turnover and cut the costs that employers that pay low wages impose on taxpayers. And studies show that raising the minimum wage does not result in job losses, despite what many Republican candidates claim.
Yeah, studies show, John, but let me tell you something. The American people don't send Republicans to Congress to read shit.
That is true.
All right?
Yes, they want shorter bills that they still will not read.
That's right. Nah. 3-page bill.
Yeah, on the back of a postage stamp.
3-page bill.
Yeah, maximum bill. Okay, another one. Instead of a safety net to cushion our occasional falls, they have built a spider web, talking about liberals, that traps people in perpetual dependence. I had not seen this stat before, so I'm very happy that Keir Lerner included it in her editorial. A 2013 study found that 87% of households receiving money from the SNAP program in a given month include an individual who worked in the prior year or will work in the following year. This is not a program run for people who are just on it forever, never ending. It's not a spider web.
No, Johnny, when people go on SNAP, right, what they do is they take that money that they give them for food, and then they buy flat screen TVs, leather couches, and Mercedes-Benz. That's what they do.
Duh.
Don't you see the satellite dishes when you drive through the bad neighborhoods?
Exactly.
They're taking the SNAP and they're watching flat screens, and there's something about poor people being entertained on a screen that's flat that drives me fucking crazy.
When I see a microwave in a poor person's house, I want to kill them. And I just might someday.
They have microwaves, John. They think they're poor and they have the ability to warm up a Hot Pocket.
Seriously, they can afford Hot Pockets.
They're probably laughing at us over a
Amazing.
cup of noodles right now.
Probably.
Poor. The fat cats at the bottom.
Yeah.